Okay, I did Common Core Article number 3, Fulfilling the Promise of the Common Core State Standards, from our ASCD journals. I'll be addressing the three topics of adopting our state standards, how rapidly we're adopting them, and also the implementation process and some of the issues that is causing. Looking at our adoption process, we're moving from our state standards, which were in some cases lowered due to the fact that states were trying to meet the No Child Left Behind requirements. So we're shifting away from that and moving towards students being career ready, college ready, and also being ready to be citizens in our country. So as we're adopting these new standards, we have some concerns that the federal government may be overstepping their bounds and that they were the reason why these Common Core standards are being placed, since it is going to be mostly nationwide. But advocates of the Common Core stress that it was led by the states wanting to come together and create these common standards so that we can meet the needs of all of our students and push them to achieve more, whichever career path that they're choosing to take ultimately. So, that being the first one, that's about the states adopting the Common Core standards. The other topic that's discussed in the article is the rapid adoption of the Common Core. We're seeing states picking up the Common Core very, very quickly and choosing to stick with the Common Core as opposed to sticking with their state standards. This is causing a bit of an implementation problem. Right now we have 46 states that have adopted Common Core, with only Alaska, Nebraska, Texas, and Virginia opting out of the Common Core standards. So with this rapid adoption in the other states, what we're seeing is that there's a bit of a gap between what the states are currently assessing on as far as their benchmarks or their year-end exams, and what the Common Core is actually teaching. So what's going on is states are starting to assess, are starting to use the Common Core in the classroom, but then they're only testing what's on the state standards, which is not necessarily the same thing that's on the Common Core standards. So what that is causing it's just this inaccurate reflection of what's actually going on in the classroom. Scores may drop, and some may say it's because Common Core is not doing what it's saying it will, but that's not necessarily true, because the tests are reflective of the state standards, not of the Common Core standards. So we kind of have this just inaccurate matching of what we're assessing and what we're teaching in the classroom. This is also just causing other confusion. Teachers don't know exactly which standards to be teaching to. If we're testing on our California state standards, but supposed to be implementing Common Core, well, what are our learning targets? And we've learned a lot about how we need to establish our learning targets in order to help students succeed and make sure everybody's on the same page, but not everybody is on the same page, because not everybody knows exactly what we're supposed to be assessing and how we're supposed to go about it. Another thing that's kind of affecting the implementation process is the state budgets. So we have this adoption of the Common Core. It's quickly moving across the nation, with 46 states adopting it, but we're seeing the implementation being affected by the fact that states can't actually afford to buy all the materials necessary to implement the Common Core standards. So states are ranging anywhere from $3 billion to $12 billion in costs to implement Common Core. The $3 billion costs being the most bare bones process, which is just accessing things online to implement into the classroom. That means assessments, articles, teacher strategies, professional development, that kind of thing, having it all be like computer based. And then you have the business as usual type of approach to adopt the Common Core, which is $12 billion in costs due to needing all the textbooks to be able to present the Common Core the same way that we already do our California state standards. And then you have the $5 billion, which is kind of like a blended approach. Some of it is online and some of it is through textbooks. This is the preferred method, but of course $5 billion, that's a lot of money for each state to pay. And right now with this great recession that's going on, states can't necessarily afford to spend even the $3 billion or $5 billion to implement these new Common Core standards. So you have this effect happening to people that are trying to implement the Common Core, because people are agreeing that this is the better option to take as far as unifying our nation with standards, setting the bar high, making sure students have the information they need to be successful in whichever career path that they take. But then you have the money factor, ultimately, that states can't afford to do this right now, this quickly anyways. So that's kind of what the article has been about, the adoption, the quick adoption of it, the implementation, and how that's affecting state budgets. It is an effective shift to go to Common Core because we're addressing the issues that our state standards lacked and that No Child Left Behind also lacked, which is our students are not college ready, they're not career ready, and they're not active citizens. And we need to create standards that help students to achieve those goals, whether it be that they're going to go to careers right out of high school or they're going to go to college. They need to be actually prepared to take on either one of those paths. And I do believe the Common Core will do that. But the big issue is, how can we afford to implement these things when our states are already suffering financially as it is? So the transition then from our state standards to our Common Core standards is getting to be a little bit of the rough patch. We came together as states easily enough to set up the Common Core, but it seems to be the implementation process that is the larger challenge. Educating our teachers on what the implementation looks like in the classroom, creating the assessments that match what the Common Core is actually teaching or stressing in the classroom, and finding the budget to do so. Those are kind of the big things going on with this article. Yeah, so I think that Common Core is very effective, but we just need to figure out a financially responsible way to do it. Maybe start with the $3 billion method, maybe start with using online resources to implement it in the classroom, and as our states recover from this recession, slowly start to move to the blended approach where states are spending a little bit more money, but it's being done over time. I don't know if that's most effective, but that's kind of what I've thought of. So again, this is Common Core article number 3, and I hope you enjoyed.